All right. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. We're just going to give another 30 seconds for other folks to roll in. Joaquin, do you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Well, I'd like to welcome everyone around the world to our webinar today. Our webinar today focused on cross-channel journeys in pharma with Salesforce Marketing Cloud. I'm Saman Sadar. I'm the head of the operations of ShowerThinking Canada. I'll be joined today with my esteemed colleagues, Mr. Joaquin Pius, the CEO of ShowerThinking, as well as Ms. Sarah Vance, our Marketing Cloud consultant. We have got an exciting set of material for you today. On this, an overview of the material that we'll be talking about. As everybody is very busy these days, we are hoping to cover everything in about 45 minutes. We're going to start with a brief presentation and information about the presenters and as well as ShowerThinking. Then we'll review the foundation and challenges around building a journey and strategy around building the journey in pharma industry. It will be followed perhaps by the most exciting part of this presentation for you, which is sharing, reviewing, and showcasing the best industry practices according to our experience. We will review solution architecture and various examples for you. We have two interesting case studies for you. We'll go through them. And after that, we're going to follow with a Q&A session at the end where ShowerThinking team will be answering your questions. In favor of time, we have kept the Q&A session to the end. Having said that, please do feel free to send your questions throughout the presentation, and I'll be collecting them and we'll queue them at the end, and we'll try to cover them as much as possible. Obviously, after the presentation today, we will be sending the link to the recording of the presentation to all attendees and registrants. And if there were follow-up questions, please do feel free to send us your questions. I'll be more than happy to follow up with you on that. A obligatory disclaimer, obviously we are using Viva and Salesforce Marketing as the most two well-known platforms used in the pharma industry. Right now, for all the demonstration and examples purposes here, we are using logos and trademarks that are their properties of their respective companies and owners. We have every time we have a lot of new faces and new attendees in our webinars. I'll be kind of talking about a couple of minutes about what ShowerThinking and its mission. The ShowerThinking is a marketing consulting firm. We specialize in providing complete portfolio of services for all marketing needs and technological needs of Salesforce and Viva platform. And where actually ShowerThinking is differentiated is that we have a very strong marketing knowledge in Salesforce and Pharma. This is combined with a team of top-tier Salesforce and Viva architects, which they hold more than 60 certificates, and that is growing. We have a proven track record of servicing Tier 1 international pharma companies. And overall, we launch about 50 digital campaigns almost every month globally across 20 countries. It is worth mentioning that ShowerThinking has been recognized and awarded as the top 10 Salesforce solution provider in Europe, which is quite outstanding on that. So a quick word about our presenters today and panelists today. Mr. Joaquin Pius, CEO of ShowerThinking. Joaquin is certified Salesforce and Datorama solution architect. He's holding more than 10 certifications. He also has a degree from MIT. And Joaquin is also a professor in ShowerThinking University. He teaches various Salesforce training and digital marketing courses. Joaquin brings a lot of experience in particularly technology implementation and marketing for digital marketing industry, and particularly pharma. And he's holding a director chair at the ESEC University.
Thank you, everyone who will speak later.
Thanks, Joaquin. And our other esteemed speaker today is Sarah Vance. She's our Marketing Cloud consultant. Sarah has tremendous experience in working projects and international projects in the pharma industry, and she'll be presenting exciting material today for you. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it to our presenters. Bear with me today as I'm handling over the logistics to Sarah, and we'll take it from there.
Let's get down to business. First, I'll introduce the challenges that we are facing with journey implementation in the pharma industry. Let's start with the basics. I'm pretty sure that if I ask each attendee of this webinar, what is a customer journey, I would get very different answers. This is one of the basic problems we face when we want to improve the customer experience on platforms like Salesforce Marketing Cloud. The creation of a customer journey in a sector like pharma must involve multiple teams. For example, commercial excellence, product marketing, sales reps, or multi-channel managers, and in some cases, compliance or legal. We assume that all the teams involved have the same idea about a customer journey, but we will see that many times that's not the case. Technical or operational teams may understand a customer journey as part of Salesforce Marketing Cloud called Journey Builder that deals with creating digital interactions. Their vision is probably similar to option A. Marketing departments have often worked with customer experience maps, where they imagine the ideal steps to be followed when a customer interacts with a brand. Their vision would be closer to option B. The local marketing or commercial brand teams in each country may have a more tactical vision. They want to generate results quickly and probably understand that option C is the closest to reality. Brand or product teams could, for example, understand a customer journey as the points where a customer interacts with your product. Their vision would be similar to D. Salesforce Marketing Cloud has named their journey feature Journey Builder, which may be part of the problem. We have seen many customers in pharma that believe that Journey Builder can directly implement their strategic vision of a journey with the customers. To clarify this situation, we're going to explain it in the following way. Customer journeys have been around for many years. In fact, many of us are familiar with strategic journeys in which we try to improve the relationship we have with HCPs or patients. However, we know that it is very difficult to convert those strategic journeys from paper to reality, and much more difficult to measure the results. Current technology, like Salesforce Marketing Cloud, allows us to advance in a way that converts those theoretical journeys into real ones using a practical implementation. Today's webinar is focused on these latest tactical journeys. Let's review the challenges that we are facing when we want to implement a cross-channel journey. In pharma, we used to have two channel groups: the rep-driven channels, which are the ones that the rep can orchestrate, and the channels driven by headquarters, product teams, or marketing. The reality of implementing tactical cross-channel journeys is that it is quite manageable until the HCP can start choosing their own journey through the channel mix. This operation is a challenge, but on the other hand, this mix leads us to true omni-channel engagement. There are more elements to consider, but in our experience, a well-orchestrated cross-channel journey can bring real benefits to the table. The solution to this problem is to use marketing automation strategies. For example, detecting the best channels and the appropriate content, and using scoring indicators to select the best segment of the customer. Salesforce Marketing Cloud is our preferred choice to complete the marketer mantra: send the right message at the right time to the right person. Working with many channels in a coordinated way at the same time is a skill that requires technological and digital maturity within the company. It's not enough to have a Salesforce Marketing Cloud license. It requires a multidisciplinary marketing and technology team that allows projects to evolve over time. Surely all of us would like to start working on predictive journeys using Einstein's artificial intelligence. However, our experience tells us that most Salesforce Marketing Cloud projects have to start with the basics, like a management and consent capture system. In this slide, you can see ShowerThinking's proposal on how to evolve a digital project for pharma companies. Another challenge that we find in pharma is that many times we limit ourselves from using new technologies that our customers are used to and are very common in other sectors. For example, do you know that Marketing Cloud is capable of launching a journey when an HCP plays a specific percentage of a video on our website? Or even when we engage an HCP with a specific key educational message or specific content? Many times we limit ourselves to social media networks like LinkedIn for HCPs or Facebook for patients, when we can easily integrate those audiences using Audience Builder. Please consider that journeys are not limited only to emails. We can trigger activities in Viva and coordinate the journeys with our sales reps in order to create a seamless experience for our customers. Let's move on to the next point in the presentation. Now we'll discuss the best practices for building an effective cross-channel journey. The first topic that we're going to cover is the technological foundation of our project. Many marketing and IT teams believe that they have the appropriate technology already in place, but many times they need to review and audit the situation before beginning. As we've said before, Salesforce Marketing Cloud is not a solution that allows customers to work straight out of the box in pharma. Nowadays in pharma, there's a need to integrate three major platforms: Viva as the CRM, Salesforce Marketing Cloud as a marketing automation tool, and web platforms such as Sitecore. The first step is to design an architecture that integrates Salesforce Marketing Cloud with our Viva CRM and any additional digital assets the company possesses. You must take into account a management system for consents, duplication of contacts, and interactions. It should be noted that in 2019, Salesforce acquired the company Evergage, which has become Interaction Studio. Salesforce Marketing Cloud integrates with Interaction Studio and allows us to orchestrate cross-channel segmentation with our HCPs and customize messages in real time. Interaction Studio is a very new tool that's being progressively adopted. It allows us the opportunity to develop customized solutions with the same functionalities, like connecting Sitecore and Salesforce Marketing Cloud with custom tracking tools as well as Viva. In the example we show, Interaction Studio has been incorporated. But as we have already mentioned, this is a very new tool. We have the experience of having already developed customized solutions that offer similar functionalities to Interaction Studio. For example, connecting Sitecore and Salesforce Marketing Cloud with custom tracking tools, as well as Viva. In our experience, we have seen many projects fail due to a lack of planning and organization. Customer journeys require the collaboration and teamwork of various departments of a pharma company. Defining goals is more complex than it may seem. Our recommendation is to maintain a product focus and establish measurable objectives which we can compare with benchmarks in pharma. After establishing the product and the objectives, we can select the audience. Not only must the CRM data and the consents be taken into account, but we must also analyze the behavior and scoring techniques to define the perfect audience. One of the most important points is deciding how to track the journey. Different channels require different technical implementations for tracking, as well as a campaign definition methodology. Of course, we will need to feed our Viva CRM with the interactions from our journeys to have a 360 view of the HCPs. Finally, you have to work on customization through content and contact points. At the end of this webinar, we will discuss how we work on these types of projects. Let's start with our first example. Depending on the stage of the product life cycle, a campaign encompassing an upgrade to a new version of the product is a challenge because prescription processes are difficult to alter. This journey is part of this strategy. The orchestration between sales reps and marketing automation can produce great benefits due to the consistency and planned approach to the interactions in this journey. We started working with brand managers and their sales reps to understand which interactions can be automated and what information must be tracked in order to trigger future actions. The journey could start from a segmentation in Viva, but with the learning process and scoring process, we can better define next actions and improve audiences for future journeys. At the same time, we can improve our segmentations with the data obtained throughout the journey. This journey is triggered by an interaction from the sales rep, but also by an interaction from the HCP, for example, when they consume content to start an educational process. Depending on if the HCP has viewed specific segments from a video contained in an approved email, the journey follows a different path in order to establish a common approach to the presentation of the product upgrade. Let's move to a different customer case. In this journey, we started working on the design of the webinar invitation and registration process, considering not only the integration of the 3 platforms mentioned so far, but also the inclusion of LinkedIn. The journey began with a segmentation based on Viva's call plan. For this, we used the Salesforce reporting tool and later tagged it through a Viva campaign. The sales reps trigger the journey by launching a Viva-approved webinar invitation email, a journey that continues in Salesforce Marketing Cloud with a second email based on the level of engagement with the approved email. If the GP does not interact with either of the 2 communications, Salesforce Marketing Cloud launches a warning task to the sales rep in Viva. In parallel to this process, and through the segmentation of the Viva campaign, in Advertising Studio, we launched a series of promotional campaigns related to the webinar using LinkedIn, specifically retargeting functionalities to reinforce the impact on the audience's GPs and generating new leads through lookalike audiences. In order to maximize the investment of ads, a suppression list was generated based on the registered contacts. Finally, as you already know, with pharma webinars, it is very important to make sure that the content can only be accessed by HCPs. We developed an approval process based on Viva identifiers, in this case OneKey from IQVIA. This solution not only provides improvement at the level of data integration and orchestration of the cross-channel journey, it also allows us to improve the user experience. Why create a registration form where we request data that we already have in Viva? In this case study, we decided to create a one-click registration process based on tagging the email links. We achieved this by tagging the emails launched via Salesforce Marketing Cloud, as well as by the use of deep linking in Viva-approved emails. On the other hand, we also improved conversion rate optimization using native LinkedIn functionalities such as forms. Surely, many of you have registered for this webinar with a single click in a LinkedIn form. If we focus on analytics, this solution integrates all user interactions using the Viva timeline. In this example, you can see how this is displayed on the iPad of a sales rep. If you remember, one of the demands of our client was to be able to have a business-related engagement indicator. For this, we rely on one of the industry standards, the key educational message. We tagged the content of the webinars based on the KEMs, and thanks to the visualization metrics provided by the webinar platform, we created a score based on the time spent in the webinar and the responses to the feedback survey. I'm sure that many of you are not happy with Salesforce Marketing Cloud's analytics solutions, and you have no way to create dashboards to follow a customer journey. In this case study, we focus on 2 parts: the data layer and data collection through personalized tagging in Google Tag Manager, and incorporation of a BI tool for marketing, such as Datorama, which not only integrates data from Viva, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, and GoToWebinar, but can also be connected to LinkedIn. Now we would like to share with you the services we are currently offering, which encompass Viva and Salesforce Marketing Cloud, and our vision on how to develop solutions for creating cross-channel journeys. The services we offer are based on 4 areas: strategy and consulting, technical solution design, administration and implementation of Viva and Salesforce Marketing Cloud, and campaign and journey operation. Apart from these services, we've noticed that in recent years, customers have been requesting a solution that allows them to develop cross-channel customer journeys in an agile way for different countries and products. This is why we have combined our years of experience in marketing and technology into a service for the rapid implementation of cross-channel journeys. Creating a new journey in pharma could be a cumbersome task due to the fact that you must involve different departments like IT, product managers, marketing experts, multi-channel managers, commercial excellence, etc. This is why we created a cross-channel journey accelerator package, which combines a series of best practices and training in order to get your team ready to design and implement cross-channel journeys. The project is divided into 3 modules, 1 per week. It begins with the identification of the segment and data analysis, combining this with the previous knowledge of the customer. Then there's a process of co-creating with the product, technical, and commercial teams, which includes designing the customer journey and its goals and objectives, and using our best practices from previous projects. The project ends with the journey implementation, usually as a pilot in a different market from the markets involved in previous phases. Using design thinking and agile methodologies, we have been able to systematize the development and implementation of cross-channel journeys. During the past year, we have adapted this methodology to be fully functioning and useful to diverse teams in different countries. This new way of team working has increased the productivity of this type of project. I hope you enjoyed the webinar and find the information useful. I'll hand it back over to my colleagues now.
All right, very good, very good material, and I think we're still on time. We've got a few more minutes to answer a few questions right now. Please do use the question to send me your questions, or if you have a question, raise hands. I'll try to see if I can cue in your audio. In the meantime, I can get it started. Joaquin, am I being heard okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, very good. Yeah. So maybe you're best person to answer this question. Journeys are starting at typically at set times. Can a cross journey architecture be introduced while a journey is in progress?
Okay, nice question. Well, I would say that absolutely you should plan, all the different interactions, and even more when we are speaking about cross-channel journeys, because usually involves the interaction from the reps, from digital and marketing teams. So everything should be planned in advance. But obviously, we have seen in most this year for this pandemic that with many changes in campaigns and journeys. So the response is yes, you can change the journey. One is split, you can pause or you can stop and start it again. But usually you should plan your journey in order to follow a specific, because also not all the analytics for the journey sometimes are more difficult to follow.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So the second question, I guess, is perhaps about the kind of evolving from either simplified journeys or almost no journey structure to developing a solid cross-channel journey. So the question reads, based on your experience, how quickly a company can achieve a reasonable, well-segmented audience from Viva raw CRM database? An approximate time is appreciated.
Okay, I think that really these questions have 2 different parts. The first one is, well, we find many projects where we see that the product managers or the people responsible in a pharma company, they believe that the information they already have in Viva is enough for launching this kind of programs. And many times we see the opposite, because many times these companies are not used to full digital interactions, at least, and the level of clean of this database and the level of quality needs to be improved. So this is one. I think that part of the question about the raw data. So probably you need to consider that the usually takes a little bit more time, and also the process that we explain, going from the consent management to a more complex. Obviously, everyone wants to jump straight away in the more complex journeys, but you need to follow some specific process, or this is at least what we suggest. And the second part is that I see that many of our customers, we are working on a yearly basis, but with a 6 months review. So this means that every 6 months, the different journeys in place, they are usually review and check against this strategy.
Very, very good. Thank you. Obviously, I'll follow up as we are going through the questions. I'll follow up with the attendees to make sure they get the response, but I want to make sure we cover as many questions as possible. So there's another interesting question. Some kind notes about the webinar, and also the kind of the heart of the question is, can you explain a little bit talking about how to get one-click links, the logistics of getting one-click links, for example, on LinkedIn, that is tailored for each user? Is it only via email personalization? Can you put reps sending those, or even though it is a sponsored, I guess, communication? Maybe if you can elaborate a little bit on this one.
So there are two different solutions. Obviously, you have a list of attendees, and you know everything about your HCPs, or in this case, we are speaking a lot about the HCPs, but the same could apply to patients. In the case of having all this information in Viva, you have different tactics in order that the CRO, the conversion rate optimization, which is basically at the end is the user experience that we are providing with in our journeys, is excellent for the customers. So in this case, you can send emails from Viva where you already know a lot of information, so this is not needed to include additional questions. And this could used to be one part of these journeys, with webinar journeys in Pharma. And this specific question is about LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has one advertising platform where you can integrate directly or use your contacts into Marketing Cloud. So at the end, you obviously will need an approval process in order that, well, depending really on the content that you are providing, but basically it's an interaction that connects LinkedIn ads together with Salesforce Marketing Cloud between these two platforms, in order that all the information is pre-filled with the information on LinkedIn, and it's sent to Marketing Cloud, Salesforce Marketing Cloud.
Okay, very good.
Your question.
Very good. No, thank you, Joaquin. The other question, actually, there's an interesting question about a scoring topic, and the question reads as this: if you can elaborate a little bit about scoring, scoring is not native to Salesforce Marketing Cloud and Viva. Is this something that is being custom built? To Joaquin, if you don't mind commenting about this.
Very interesting question. Yes, although Salesforce Marketing Cloud is a marketing automation platform, and this functionality like scoring is very common between these platforms. For example, Salesforce has another marketing automation platform called Pardot, where you have this functionality included, which is scoring, or customer scoring, we will say. This is always a custom solution so far, and I haven't heard any news about any roadmap for implementing customer journeys. And I see that probably in the case of pharma it's difficult, because although in other sectors exists a common understanding about what is a customer scoring, in pharma every company has a different methodology or algorithm, in order to have different values for these interactions. So yes, this is correct. This is a custom build solution that you need to build on your Salesforce Marketing Cloud platform.
Thank you, Joaquin. And let me actually overlay this as well. That obviously, as Joaquin mentioned, it is custom built, and it is tailored to the goals of every company and every organization. And one of the value added and differentiations of ShowerThinking is actually that we sit together with all their stakeholders and collectively define and coach the process of creating these scoring that ultimately has the ROI at the end to enhance the metric that you're looking for on this. So next question for you, Joaquin. It is about it's specifically about Sitecore, but I'll kind of first generalize that. Practically, we showcased a few in the examples that we showcased a particular platforms. The question reads as, is the Sitecore the only platform to get the data? What about if a company has its own platform for interaction with all the data interaction available? Mm-hmm. Is it possible to use different platforms? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Sam. Yes, no. This I think that Sarah mentioned in the video is a web platform where Sitecore is an example, but you have WordPress, you have Drupal, you have many different options. At the end, you need to integrate the tracking, which is basically from this web platform. You need to obtain all the digital activities from an HCP in this web. For example, when I speak about digital activities, I speak about register, if they log, if they scroll a page, if they view a page, if they view a video, or they download a PDF, and a specific PDF. All these different interactions, this is what you need to get into Marketing Cloud. So this is not only specific to Sitecore, but any web platform. It was just an example.
Very good. Thank you. Another question is that in certain countries, or I'm again adapting the question to a little bit more general audience, in every country, the compliance requirements are different from one country to the other. And in certain countries, it is much more strict, and it does not allow, for example, social media ad to create consent, or they may not be the practically the approval process for that. How can a marketing manager can assure only an HCP will see the LinkedIn ad?
Well, you need to rely on the segmentation from LinkedIn. I will need to understand a little bit more about this use case, but obviously if you are using Facebook or you are using LinkedIn and you are the parameters that you are using in the ad campaign is that only to solve someone with the title physician, you are relying on the LinkedIn platform. For some use cases, this is enough, but will probably depend, on the situation. So this is something that probably we will need to understand a little bit more, which is the specific for this campaign or this journey.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I also do need to understand the question a little bit more, kind of better. I'll follow up with the attendee who asked this question on that. Another question for you, Joaquin, is it's about where to house the data. The question reads: when it comes to engagement data, clicks, downloads, page views, etc., what is your recommendation housing the data? Essentially, to keep that outside of Viva or bring it into Viva? And this is the first part of the question.
Okay, it's also a good one. I think that we usually follow the method or the idea for keeping the information which is necessary in its system. The most important part of this information is the information that the reps, in the case of, we are always speaking, I don't know why in this webinar only about reps, but there will be also in other cases for patients. But in the case of reps, in the interaction with the HCP, in the Viva timeline, you have a lot of information there, and this is probably the appropriate place to include this information. This, together with the scoring, will be enough, for many projects. So I don't want to give a very general answer to this question, because we will need to understand a little bit more. But as a general rule, I would say that probably using the Viva timeline and scoring methodology could be enough for many projects. And in others, where to store the information, I assume that the question comes from where do I store the information, if it is in Viva or this is in Marketing Cloud or an external database. I see many different projects with the different solutions, but as a general rule, I would suggest to use the Viva timeline and use an scoring in order to understand which is the engagement, digital engagement or journey engagement for any specific HCP with a brand.
I see, and perhaps the second part of this question actually touches on the clarification that we're talking about. Really, the concern of the attendee is, or the question of the attendee is that it is more about how the whole infrastructure and the feedback can be adopted by the reps. I guess the question about this, say, if the reps are using Viva, how this information can be used back with them, or it is only solely for the purpose of the marketing. It is more about how to integrate all angles of sales and marketing together.
Yes, of course, this is a key point to consider with designing cross-channel journeys, is how the reps are going to obtain and actuate against this information. Also consider that there are many nice functionalities that, for example, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, depending on all these different interactions, they are trying to build these artificial intelligence features like next best action, MBA, is usually called in the industry, and it depends upon properly uploading into Sales Cloud and Customer 360 all this information together. So probably we will need to review a little bit the architecture and see exactly which is the specific case in this situation, Sama.
Okay, sounds good. And there are actually other questions as well related to very interesting questions, obviously, about the social media platform segmentation and how the HCPs will be reached. I think this, given the fact that they are a little bit case specific, what we'll do is that we'll try to reach out to our audience separately on this offline, and then really appreciate those questions to just kind of explain that a little bit better to them. But definitely that is, Joaquin, is a general question, and obviously a general concern in the industry as to how we can only limit it to HCPs if we are talking about social media platforms and the segmentation of that. That seems to be a big topic to focus on this. So we got perhaps a couple more minutes. I'd like again to thanks everybody for attending. We got actually a large number of attendees. We're very excited about this. One housewarming item will be obviously recording. We've been recording this webinar. We will be sending it out to all the attendees and registrants. So a link on that. Please do review it, and we'll follow up with you on every questions or any comments that you have. I would like again to thank everyone. Oh, there's actually one question that just came in. Let me see if we can answer this question as well, Joaquin. It says, regarding journeys, touch contact, and sales reps, and regarding the journeys, contacts, and sales rep involves, what do you recommend to include sales reps in the first touch contact, middle, or in the last point of the journey?
Well, this depends. We are here speaking, or we follow. Okay, let's phrase this way. I see that some pharma companies are trying to understand if they can go through a full digital interaction, but most of them we are using a sales rep orchestration. So under this second methodology, obviously it will depend. It's not that this is the first touch is made by the rep or the last one. Is that you have a good integration and an understanding from the reps about what is the journey that we are designing. So it's really the integration. Does not matter if this is the first point or this is the last one.
Okay, very good, very good. Thanks so much. So let me get back quickly to my closing remarks here, as we will definitely follow up. Thanks again, everyone, for attending, and looking forward to seeing everybody in our follow-on webinars in the webinar series in Pharma. Thanks again on behalf of the ShowerThinking team.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, everybody. Take care.